The Jaguars at the Chiefs. Fourth-seeded Jaguars erased the 27-0 deficit, came back and beat the Chargers. Now it's Jags-Chiefs, 8.5-point favorites are the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris is in Kansas City, so he has to pick the Chiefs. 53 is the over-under. The real question is, do you pick the Chiefs to cover that spread?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of ways to think about this game, right? I mean, I think the first thing, you still got me. I kind of lost you in my shot here. I don't know what I did. I clicked off the screen and I messed this up here.
I'm here.
But all right, you still see me, right? All right, good. I just got worried there for a minute.
Unfortunately.
But I think the thing that jumps out to me, there's two ways to think about this game, right, Mike? And we kind of hit on it a little bit during the week. Is like, hey, the Jaguars, they got nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting them to win this football game, right? And this environment. So that's always scary. I mean, that scares every team. I was just out at practice with the Chiefs a little bit, and there was a coach or two who brought that aspect up. But I do think there's the other aspect, Mike, that, I think you'll agree with, to where you go, wait, do the Jaguars know what they're about to step into, too, right? I know they got a little taste of Kansas City in the regular season, but, this is a different animal we're talking about as well. And I'm very interested to see that psychology of that. One, they're coming up to Kansas City. It's going to be cold as hell. Two, the stadium, as you know, and we've discussed this a lot, playoff football, the stadium, it's going to be different than it was in the regular season. And three, so is the team that you're playing across the field. They're going to be different. They're going to be on their A game. Emotions are going to be as high as it can be. And that's the other part of this where, yeah, they could be loose, but I also wonder whether they might get out there and go, whoa, I didn't realize this is what kind of intensity it takes to be a Super Bowl team. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Mike? That's like one of my first thoughts. I know it's not X's and O's, but I am intrigued by it.
Well, and I think it's a real factor when you're talking about winner-take-all, season-on-the-line type atmosphere. I saw earlier this week Trevor Lawrence said he can't imagine Arrowhead Stadium being any louder than it was in Jacksonville on Saturday night. And that made me think someone must have really spiked his Waffle House syrup from Saturday night, maybe with liquefied mushrooms. I don't know, because yes, it will be ridiculously loud, and yes, it will be an intimidating presence. One of the things about Jacksonville on Saturday night at the outset of the game, during the pregame show, Rodney Harrison was pointing out how dead it was in there. Now, it may have picked up once it looked like the Jaguars were going to come back and win the game, but it's still nothing like Arrowhead, where it's routinely above 100 decibels, and the stakes are as high as they've ever been for most of these Jaguars players. I am a firm believer, though, in that one seed being in jeopardy. You've got a great season that can go up in smoke in 3 hours, and you get caught with an early uppercut, and the next thing you know, you're in a fight, and you feel it all slipping away, and guys are coming to the sideline saying, what the hell's going on out there? And they never have enough time to get back to where they need to be and win the game, and it feels like a fight. It feels like a struggle, and next thing you know, it's done. Both one seeds lost last year in the divisional round. So I think it needs to be taken seriously. And the question is, can the Chiefs understand that, overcome it, and be on guard against the fact that the Jaguars are coming in loose and confident with this mindset that the pressure is entirely on the home team?
Yeah, I it's a big thing. And I think that's something that, you and me will be watching in the pregame, right? To just kind of see or get a feel for the energies of the two football teams. I think that's very tangible evidence, and I am interested to see that. Getting into the X's and O's, Mike, I think when I look at it too a little bit, there's two things. Jacksonville's offense, we know it's pretty good. They got good balance, but they had issues blocking Kansas City up front in the first game. Chris Jones dominated the interior part of that offensive line. Brandon Scherf could not block Chris Jones. Brandon Scherf hasn't had a great year altogether, but he really struggled, and not many people can block Chris Jones. So they won a lot of matchups there where I like Jaguars' balance, yes, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to consistently run against this group in Kansas City, and I do worry about them if they want to drop back and pass, because one thing I do that jumped out to me from the first matchup too is Jacksonville was a little conservative. They took a few aggressive throws down the field early in the game. They didn't work out, and they kind of didn't go back to the well until later in the football game. And that allowed Kansas City to play very aggressive. I think they got even more emboldened to blitz a little bit more, and that's something I'm interested to see too. The one thing with no balance, I'm not sure they can block Chris Jones in the middle, and then the lack of just a burner of speed at wide receiver for the Jaguars. I can imagine Kansas City playing maybe a little bit more aggressively in this matchup as compared to the first one. And I think there's some advantages there for the Kansas City defense if they do play like that.
Well, and again, we know how Andy Reid typically does when he has extra time to get ready for anyone. I don't know who they prepared for last week. They probably found time to prepare for every potential opponent they could face in the divisional round. And once they knew it was Jaguars, they focused on them exclusively. The team is rested. The team is recovered. The team is ready. The one risk that I also think, Chris, and I'm still going to deviate away from X's and O's because we didn't make this point.
It's all right.
Peeking past the Jaguars, because that game against the Bills is looming, the AFC neutral site title game, and the Bills won't have played. They won't know for sure it's going to be Buffalo. They have to assume it's going to be Buffalo. Either way, it's either a Bills team that is desperate to kick their ass or a Bengals team that consistently has kicked their ass. They better not trip up over the Jaguars on their way to what they perceive to be the bigger and tougher game. And again, I trust Andy Reid to keep his guys focused on the task at hand, but that's still part of this. You've got to be focused on this game and on this team. And I agree with what you said about Chris Jones. Peter King made that point earlier today. He sat in for you, by the way, on PFT Live. And Chris Jones has been a beast, as much of a dominant presence as Dexter Lawrence has been for the Giants, who we'll talk about coming up. And that Chiefs defense, so much focus on the offense this year, and is the offense as good as it was without Tyreek Hill? The defense has kind of quietly held its own all year long.
Yes.
Chris Jones arguably has had the best season of his career.
Right, agreed, and I would totally agree. Chris Jones is, to me, he was the guy I voted for first team All Pro defensive tackle. He's I think entered that conversation as probably the best interior defensive lineman in football. He's so versatile that way, and to your point too, Kansas City on the defensive side of the ball, when they played Jacksonville the first time, I think they were just in the process of kind of, hey, let's expand the playbook on these young guys a little bit. Let's start doing some of the Steve Spagnuolo, hey, we'll double a guy here and play this coverage over here, right? And that's progressed too. That's going to be different about the matchup as well, let alone I think he trusts those young corners in some of these man-to-man situations. So, again, we know that Jacksonville offense is good, but I give the advantage to the Chiefs on that side of the ball. And then, of course, there's the other side of the ball, Mike, with Kansas City's offense against that Jags defense. And it's interesting, right, with Kansas City. We know they can throw it and make highlight plays, but they're a different team than we've seen the last 4 or 5 years here when they've gone deep into the playoffs, to where there's a legit run game you have to defend now. It's not just Mahomes throwing the ball all over the world. And that changes the aspect of this matchup too. And Jacksonville's not the best run-stopping defense, and we know that.
And Jerick McKinnon has become a real force for that team, had the most receiving touchdowns for a running back since Marshall Faulk 20 years ago, and we saw him kind of come of age for that team last year in the postseason. So You're right. It's a very diverse offense. It all centers around Patrick Mahomes, and a healthy Patrick Mahomes is very difficult to beat. A banged-up Patrick Mahomes almost won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, running for his life from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line. But one thing we always say about Mahomes, he's got that ability to stay just a split second ahead of the guys who are chasing him. And he runs around with his hair on fire, and everybody else is like slipping around on ice trying to catch up to him. He's got that uncanny sense of how his body moves in relation to the other bodies on the field. He makes everybody kind of wobbly inherently because they don't know what he's going to do next, which way he's going to go, when all of a sudden the ball is going to be out. Yeah, it's like they're constantly worried, like, well, okay, what's he, what? And next thing you know, he's gone. Or he throws the ball with his other hand, or he does that flip he did to McKinnon against the Broncos this year. It really is. I'm glad we're going to be in the building for the latest chapter of Patrick Mahomes doing amazing shit in a playoff game. We take it for granted. We shouldn't, and I won't take for granted the opportunity to witness it.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't. You're right. I mean, I got a chance to see practice today, and I got goosebumps a few times watching it, to your point. Just going, damn, this guy is he's special. It just, you feel it. You really do, let alone you see it, and you just go, wow, oh, well, okay. Or just going to casually throw a 50-yard laser up the sideline, look like you just flicked it with your wrist. It's amazing how he is. And, to all of that, with Mahomes, I mean, you said it, he's magical. But Jacksonville, from you look back at that first matchup, they got to change their approach. Jacksonville could not get close to Patrick Mahomes with their front four. Now, this pass protection, this offensive line, they're real in that department. Jacksonville's been a little disappointing as far as their pass rush. And I do think Jacksonville is going to have to probably blitz Mahomes a little bit more than they would actually like. Now, there is a little bit of a silver lining maybe to that, too. As the game got late in that first matchup and they were trying to come back and force the issue and maybe make a play or two with their defense, they did get up in the Chiefs' receivers' faces a little bit and played them man-to-man. And I thought, oh, wow, they weren't overmatched, and again, that may be something, hey, they missed Tyreek Hill. But Kadarius Toney, he's going to be a part of this conversation too. And they got a little taste of him when they played the first time as well. He's a guy that I think can, as they go forward, if he can stay healthy, can fill that void of Tyreek Hill, scary guy that can fly down the football field. But Jacksonville definitely has to change what they did. First game, it was too much zone. They didn't do a good job of passing off crossers that we've talked about. And I think if you play zone like we've talked about all year, Mahomes is at a point in maturity now as far as playing in the pocket that he'll be patient. He'll pick you apart. You got to force the issue tactically, take a few chances here and there. And I'm expecting the Jacksonville to do that, especially with nothing to lose. And the way it looked the first time, I think they got to do it.
How do you think the Andy Reid-Doug Peterson relationship factors into this one, if at all? Peterson worked there in Kansas City with Reid, became the coach of the Eagles, did what Reid couldn't do in Philadelphia, won a Super Bowl, then got fired like Reid did. After a year off, landed in Jacksonville as the head coach. We were talking earlier today about how amazing it is. Certain teams like the Broncos didn't even interview Peterson when he was available to everyone to be hired. But how do you think that relationship will be a factor? They know each other. We've talked in the past about what a coach may hold back, what he may keep secret because he fears crossing paths with one of his lieutenants in the future. How do you think that may affect this?
I think the first thing is Andy Reid and the Chiefs are going to be on edge about Doug Peterson having nothing to lose and him and trick plays, right? The first matchup, they kicked an onside kick to start the game and recovered it. So I would expect, that's the first thing I would worry about. If I was playing Doug Peterson and I'm the Jaguars, I'm sitting there going, wait, we're the Chiefs. We're obviously a better football team. I got to think they're going to try to find or find a way to steal an extra possession in the matchup. So that's the first thing I'd be on alert for is just, wait, will they fake a punt, do something tricky, whatever. And then the second thing is, to what you're saying, I think, and I asked Andy Reid this a little bit. I think, they understand what they like to do in certain moments. And I think there's a blend in, he was kind of saying, like, there's certain things we do and we're going to do it because we're good at it. And yeah, they might know it, but we're good at it. And we're not going to vary. But we do know there's some things that I think they know if, we're going to zig here, they're going to have something for the zag here. And then that's where I think this is, kind of interesting is just, do you overplay tendencies? You got to be careful because both these guys are crazy and gutsy and will change those tendencies up to screw you over. And it's another one of the things that's kind of fascinating about the matchup.
3 coaches of the final 8 teams have already won a Super Bowl. Reid and Peterson are 2 of them. And by the way, Peterson and Mike McCarthy, the 2 coaches left who have the chance to become the first ever to win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams. McCarthy did it with the Packers. Peterson did it with the Eagles. Let's pivot to that Eagles game. Giants at Eagles.
Well, we got to pick the game. We didn't pick the game.
We got to make our picks. What the f***? All right, never mind. We talked it through. It's like we're done. Let's move on. The whole purpose of this is to make the fucking picks. All right, Chris, what's your pick?
I'm going Chiefs 35-20, Mike. I think the Jaguars might hang around for a little bit, but ultimately, I think this is the Chiefs team that's on a mission. They're talented. They're playing good on both sides of the football. They understand it's playoff time. We can't mess around and take our foot off the gas pedal at certain times. And I think the loss to the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship game still eats at them a little bit. I expect as the game goes on, the Chiefs to show that they're a little bit in a different class than the Jaguars.
I have seriously considered picking the upset on this one. Very seriously considered because we see it happen. Wouldn't you rather be right about the unthinkable happening than wrong about the predictable happening? I'd rather be right about the unthinkable happening. And I thought it through, and I thought about Saturday as we come to the conclusion of our pregame show, and we're all picking, and the logos are coming up, and it's going to be Chiefs, 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 Chiefs. And we're going to set ourselves up to be a meme for the Jaguars and Jacksonville to, do what he does. I really thought about it. I really did. And then I also thought about how officials must feel when they have to make a tough call in a hostile environment like Arrowhead Stadium. I would like to get out of there alive. So at the end of the day, my self-preservation instinct has caused me to go with the Chiefs, but I am Chris Mad Dog Russo, just so you know, because Mad Dog's got an issue with us all picking straight up. We do pick against the spread here on the PFT Picks podcast. I take the Jags to cover. 8.5 is too rich for my blood, as they say. I've got 30-27. The Chiefs win. Maybe it's a garbage time touchdown, backdoor cover, but 8.5 is too much for me. I hope it's a classic down-to-the-wire Harrison Butker field goal that delivers the victory, but 30-27, Chiefs win, Jaguars cover. I get out of there alive, but at least I'm saying there's a chance, a real chance for the road team.
All right, I hear you. That's going to be the thing to watch here, as far as just how that road team, can they play loose and let it go, or are they going to go, holy shit, we're playing a team that's just we didn't realize how intense and good they are in situations like this, and that's why it's going to be awesome with you and me front and center there Saturday. We'll get to evaluate it all.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.